Hello and welcome to the Vibrate Higher podcast. My name is Joelle. I am your host. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you are not new, welcome back. So today I want to give you my 7 takeaways that I got from a women's entrepreneurial conference that I went to in Arizona this past weekend. And I was poured into not only by my peers, but by a host of women who have bootstrapped their businesses from the ground up, scaled them to 7 figures and beyond, and some that have even sold their businesses for hundreds of millions of dollars. So I wanted to give you all my takeaways so that hopefully you can feel the same upgrade energetically that I did when I was in that space. So let's dive right in. So this conference that I was at was called the Powerhouse Women Conference, and it really was more like an event. It wasn't a conference, but it was like 3 days with just an amazing group of women, not only just the conference goers or the attendees, but also the keynotes, the panelists, the host. I mean, everything was just all about embodiment and upgrading and vulnerability. And I mean, it was amazing, guys. It's hard to put into words. But what I am going to do is summarize the amazing things that I learned there and give you a little backstory on how I got to these. Now, these 7 things are my own upgrades. These are not anything like in no particular order. This wasn't how the conference laid out anything. So some of them are worded the way I worded them. You're going to get what you're going to get. But if you're listening to me, it's because you already know how I roll. So let's jump right in. So number 1, my big takeaway, again, in no order, is being audacious. I loved this concept. And although it seems pretty simple, how we got to this point, I thought was very profound and it had an effect on me. So one of the panelists, who happens to be a person that is in like a product business. So she has a few different products that she has in her repertoire, but most of her businesses that she touches have scaled to 7 figures. So she kind of knows what she's talking about, and she's tried, failed. So one of the things that she said that stuck with me was that she makes it a point to show up in rooms and be in spaces where she forces herself to be audacious in what she's asking for. So the running joke was like, you want to make moves and asks that would have the people around you kind of clutching their proverbial pearls, like the audacity of her to ask for that, or to think that she deserves that, like the audacity. And so we were all kind of laughing as a group. And when I say group, I mean like 800 of my closest friends. We're all in there laughing because it's so true. I think you see this more so with men. Men can walk into a room or to a space, especially if it's in the business lane, and they ask for what they want. A lot of them. Now, some not, but a lot of men, they are going to go in and just go for it. They're going to ask, no matter how weird it sounds, they're going to ask for it. And sometimes with women, we tend to mute ourselves in certain spaces and not use our voices. So I'm saying this to say, what hit me was be audacious, figure out ways that I can show up in certain spaces and just be exactly who I am, like, and stretch myself even further. I want people around me to clutch their pearls, like the audacity, like, is that Joelle? Because she would never ask that. And so it's not a ticket to be a complete asshole to people, but it's more so about ask for what you want. Don't back down. Don't be afraid. Be audacious. And I loved that. And I feel like so many of us need to hear that. It could be in your relationship where you are not expressing your needs you are not using your voice. It could be in romantic relationships, familial relationships, friendships. It could be in your career. You're not asking for that promotion. You're not asking for more money. You're not asking when it's time to negotiate your salary with a new employer, or you're not asking for more responsibility or more freedom, more taken off your plate. You want to think through that. And I want you to use that, the audacity, as a reframe. And I'm actually doing this episode on YouTube. This is actually a video episode today. So for those of you who can't see me, I am literally like, when I say that, I am grabbing my proverbial pearls and like, so what can you do this week that is audacious for you? I want you to push yourself, and I want you to think about that. What can you do? What decision can you make? What question can you ask? What thing can you ask for that's going to make the people around you clutch their pearls? Okay, takeaway number 2. Do the cringy shit. Now, I told you guys I worded this how I worded it. Do the cringy shit came from the same panelist telling us a story about being backstage at an event she was speaking at. And it's like 20 other people back there, all, well-known speakers. And this one person that was in the green room with the panelist was someone that the panelist admired a lot. And so she was watching her. And while everyone else in the green room was just doing random things, this particular person, this woman, had a ring light, and she's like getting videoed and doing something that is against the grain. And it's what no one else did in this green room. Like the fact that she actually brought in a ring light and had like 2 camera people in there. It's kind of like cringy, like, oh, she is doing the most over here. Like, who does that? But the panelist was saying, like, after a few minutes, she was kind of watching it and she was like, actually, why didn't I think of that? Like this, while we're sitting here for an hour, hour and a half, waiting on our turn to go on stage, this person is over here getting 30 days worth of freaking content for her business because she's over here doing the cringy shit, the shit that like everyone else is looking like we're judging her, but she's moving the needle forward for herself. And that hit for me because I don't ever do cringy shit. When it comes to building my business or when it comes to showing up in anything, in circles, with my friends, with my family, I never do the cringy shit. But I think cringy shit, like maybe the answer to something, a conversation I'm having, I may think like, oh, it needs to be this, or I would do it like this, or maybe an action I would take. I talk myself out of it because it's so against the grain. And this takeaway, I feel like, was my permission to start doing cringy shit. Because when I'm doing cringy shit, that lets me know that I am stretching beyond my limitations that my subconscious, who is just there to protect me, is trying to protect me from, because she doesn't want to let go of this normalcy that we have built up for decades. And so if I reframe it like, no, I want to do cringy shit, I am almost forming a new neural pathway there because I am doing something different that I never have done that will move the needle forward for me. So I challenge you to think through in your life, how can you do cringy shit in your business, in your relationship, cringy shit that would actually result in moving you forward, moving your business forward, moving your career forward. So that was takeaway number 2, do the cringy shit. Takeaway number 3, this was a good one. Stop outsourcing your intuition. I'm going to say that again. Stop outsourcing your intuition. That was a mic drop moment for me because I think that we all do this. We always or often rely on someone else's validation of what we're thinking, what we're feeling, an idea that we had. We always want to get a second opinion. And when we do that, we are looking to someone else to tell us what worked for them. When in actuality, we are blessed with intuition. That is a gift that God gave us. That is our soul connecting with us and leading us down a path to tell you what's right and what's wrong. And that doesn't need to be outsourced. We should be spending the time that we would spend looking for someone else to validate what we are thinking or feeling. We can spend that time sharpening our intuition and listening to it, being led, watching how that played out, and then being able to hone into that's how it feels when I should be doing this, or that's how it feels when I shouldn't be doing that. We don't know that if we continually outsource to other people. Everyone is on their own journey. And so what works for your bestie may not work for you. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't talk to your friends about things. I'm saying be led on when to let people in or when to get information. There's a difference between me mulling through maybe an idea that I had, or maybe there's something I'm feeling and I'm like trying to sift through it. And it's like, oh, I just really can't figure this out. Why, I'm trying to work through why I feel this way. And then maybe my bestie calls me, and as we're talking, she says something and it triggers me to be like, you know what? I was just kind of dealing with this today and just talking it through. And in that conversation, I get an aha or an answer. That's my intuition leading me, because my bestie called while I was thinking of something, and I didn't call her or initiate and ask of, what do you think about this? Our conversation naturally led there, or I naturally felt an intuitive hit to like, you should say this or speak up about that. That's different than the minute I have an idea, I need to call 5 people and ask them what they think about it. We are built with all the answers that we need, or access to all the answers that we need, through spirit guides, through God, through the quantum field. All of these things exist and work together for us. And our intuition is a mode of communication. We don't need to rely on anyone else to give us those answers. And if we are supposed to get those answers from someone else, we'll be led to do it. And it will be so natural. I know you all have had those moments. It's so natural. Like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about that, or I was just asking that question to myself yesterday. That's being led. Okay. Topic number 3 in my takeaways is let go of the script. So, little backstory on how this came about. During the event, a speaker came up, a licensed therapist. She does like heart talks, and just an amazing soul. She had amazing energy, very calming energy. Well, she took questions from the audience after her talk. And so there was a young lady who stood up in the audience with her microphone and begins to ask a question. And as she's asking the question, she's saying, my name's so-and-so, and I have an autoimmune disorder, and I this and I that. She just starts laying into what we think is going to be a question. And before she can even get halfway down her, boxes of all the shit that's going wrong in her life, the keynote host stops her and says, I just want to stop you because you're in the middle of a script and you don't even realize that you're in it. And as she says this, like, you could feel like a hush come over the room, kind of like everyone's like frozen in silence. including the poor girl with the microphone. And the keynote speaker did such a great job gently and lovingly talking her through how she was in a script. And it hit me that not only can we be in a script because we're performing and we were like, I'm a so-and-so, I'm a Gemini pescatarian and rah, 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 rah. There's that script. But most importantly, there's an inner limiting belief script that we all probably have in some way, shape, or form. My example is I love to tell the story that I am not a social media girly, that I struggle with visibility. I'm using quotes for those of you that can't see me. I struggle with visibility. I never had a Facebook page. Like, that's a badge of honor. Like, I go into this like script of this is why I don't do videos and I hate to see myself talking. It's so many things I tell myself. And not that that's not valid, because I'm not a big social media girly, but I need to stop running the script in my subconscious mind and consciously that I struggle with visibility. I need to reframe my belief in how I show up before I can determine what my thing is as it relates to social media and posting. Because right now I'm in a script. So I honestly don't authentically know what my thing is when it comes to that, because I've been telling myself this story over and over. Now, a caveat there is a lot of us, when we have scripts that we have been running for decades, there is going to be some inner work that has to happen for you to actually rewrite that script. It's one thing to recognize that you're doing it. It's another thing to fix it. If the script isn't anything that you've been running for that long, it could be easy to catch yourself in it and say, oh, I'm in a script. I need to reframe that. That's actually not true. I'm going to stop telling myself that today. Easy peasy. But for most of us, these scripts have been running for decades. And so I want you to understand that me sitting here today, it's easy for me to say, oh, that's a script that I'm struggling with visibility, so I'm going to fix it. I have been in the spiritual gym on this issue for a while. And if you've been listening to my podcast for a while, you know this because I have been talking about it while I've been in that spiritual gym. So I want to hold space for those of us who have been running a script and it's been running for a long time. And it's going to take you more than just naming it, really, to fix it. Go into your spiritual gym about that. Meaning, if that's prayer, go into your prayer closet about your script. Ask to be shown what it is and how to get out of it. If your spiritual gym is meditating about it, breath work about it, whatever that is, take the time to do the inner work to unpack how to fix the script versus just assuming that because you name it that it's fixed. That won't be the case for every script because some of those have deep-rooted subconscious attachments to them. So I hope that gives you some insight on letting go of the script. Takeaway number 5, stop hiding. That was another big one for me, guys. When you are hiding, you're playing small. I have been hiding behind my brand, behind Zenergy. You don't see my face. No one really knows who I am. Because of my visibility script, quote unquote, I don't post a ton of videos because I'm always talking myself out of it because I'm in a hamster wheel on it. But hiding behind my brand is what will keep me stuck in a bit of a hamster wheel. In order for you to realize some of the things that you are wanting, be it a career upgrade, a better relationship with family and friends, a romantic relationship, if you're a business owner and you're trying to grow your business, You have to stop hiding, meaning let go of being small, not being exactly who you are, not owning your authenticity. When you actually own your authenticity and love yourself exactly as you are, you can then attract people who do the same. You can attract jobs, careers, clients, all of that who match that authenticity. But when you are hiding for whatever the reason is, you are blocking yourself and you are keeping yourself small. And so I had to really let that integrate, and I still am, about hiding. And one of the audacious things that I did was record this episode as a video that will be on YouTube because it's time to stop hiding. So hopefully this will be your permission. If you are listening and you know that you are hiding, come out, step into the light, own your story, no matter how uncomfortable, how vulnerable it makes you. Own your story, own who you are, so that you are able to fully realize all of the things that you were put here to fully realize. Okay, takeaway number 6 is a question. And the question is, what would it look like if you fully committed? Let me give you the backstory because that will make it make sense. There was an amazing speaker who was actually an event attendee, and this conference allowed for 2 people in the audience to get on stage and speak. I won't go into the detail about how all that happened. It doesn't matter. One of the event attendees was a person who was on stage. She got like 3 or 4 minutes to talk and tell her story and what she wanted us to know. And she was a cancer survivor. And she said that during her journey of diagnosis and chemo and recovery, she left her career as I believe she was a biologist, and started her own business. And she said she was eating lunch with her friend, her very best friend from childhood, who said, I can't wait to like see what you're going to do with this little business thingy. And she said, she kind of paused and was like, I want to be like, normally I would be offended about this. She's talking to herself. Normally I'd be offended about this, but I'm not offended. I'm actually empowered because I want to show them what it would look like if I fully committed to this, because then it wouldn't be a little business thingy. What would it look like if I fully committed to it? And that struck so many of us in the audience. And I'm going to ask you the same question. Think about that one thing that you are working on. It doesn't have to be a business. It could be bettering yourself. It could be a weight loss journey. It could be a diet. It could be showing up better for your loved ones. Ask yourself, what would it look like if you fully committed yourself to whatever that is? And when you get that answer, do it. All right, last takeaway. Takeaway number 7 is you can serve and be in the storm at the same time. You don't have to have it all the way right. You don't have to have it all the way done. So what I mean by this is when I was first really leaning into my coaching business and just Zenergy as a whole, I found myself often saying, no one's going to listen to me. This is my inner critic. No one's going to listen to you because you are still building. You don't have everything yet. You don't have $1 million business yet. You don't have $1 million bank account yet. You don't have blah, blah, blah. And what came to me as I was listening to a particular speaker talk about this, of still being able to serve and be in it, it hit me that we don't always have to have it done to do it. For so many of you, as my podcast listeners, I get comments and text messages to the podcast all the time about how particular episodes that I put out resonate with you. And those are the ones where I am the most open to let you know that I am sitting here as a whole certified professional coach and 20 years of experience doing all kinds of things, but I'm not perfect. And I had to let go and give language to, I am meant to be able to impact and help and serve while I'm walking through my storm or my struggle or whatever it is that I'm mulling over or trying to bang out. I will bring that to a podcast episode very vulnerably. And I think it just really was an aha moment for me to understand that that's a part of my journey. I'm supposed to be going through that and giving you live, real life stuff. Like, I'm working through this right now. Here is how I'm doing it. And that actually holds more weight, at least for my tribe, than it would if I was sitting here polished and perfect, trying to tell you how I did something. So I wanted to also give you permission, if you're listening to this and you are suffering from perfectionism, thinking that you have to have it done a certain way before you can roll it out, or everything always has to look perfect. That is not true. Maybe a part of your purpose is being able to grow and lead by the clarity of your example as you're walking through whatever it is, or as you rolled out something that didn't work and then it ends up growing into something beautiful. It's okay to take the action anyway, and it's fully possible to lead and to serve while you're walking through whatever it is. One of the little caveats to this takeaway is the 70% rule, meaning if you're 70% done, take the action. Take the action, do it messy, do it anyway. And as a recovering perfectionist, that used to make me cringe. Now I'm leaning more into it because it's so authentic and real. So that was the seventh one. And those are my takeaways. So let's go through them really quickly as just a recap. Number one, be audacious. The audacious ask. What is your audacious ask that you can do this week in your life in whatever lane? Number two, do the cringy shit. This isn't for everyone, but some of you, you know what I'm talking about. Whatever that is, do the cringy shit. Just do it and see what it does for you. See how it shapes you and molds you and makes you more bold. Number three, stop outsourcing your intuition. It is all inside of you. Look within, then be guided to whomever or whatever you need to give you information. But don't look for anything externally first. Number four, let go of the script. Let go of the limiting belief talk that keeps you stuck. The I'm so this, or I've got this going on. I'm never going to be able to lose weight. I struggle with visibility. All these things that we continue to say that are quote unquote true, but they're true because we keep saying them. Number five, stop hiding. Stop playing small. Stop muting your voice. Speak up. Be bold, be authentic. Number six, what would it look like if you fully committed to that thing, to that business idea, to that career move, to your kids, to your spouse, to your friends, to yourself? What would it look like if I fully committed? And you can be in it and still serve. You can take the action and not fully be done yet. It is okay. So those are my 7 takeaways from my weekend with 7-figure women. I hope that those 7 takeaways resonated with you the way that they did with me. I hope that you are vibrating higher now than you did when you first came. I wish you love and light, and I will talk to you soon.